Well, thank you guys for joining the Reset, Renew, Revive podcast with Dr. Bindiya Gandhi. Today I have a very special guest, Zach Rance. Hi, Zach.
Hey, what's up, everyone? How you doing?
How are you doing today?
I'm doing incredible. How are you?
Good. So Zach used to be in Big Brother, and now he is now a life coach. So we want to know more about the transition of how you went from being a Big Brother to now this wonderful health and wellness journey that you've been on.
Absolutely, great question. So, being on Big Brother, I was 23 years old at the time, just graduated from the University of Florida. For people who don't know what Big Brother is, it's a reality show, but it's more so a social experiment. Eight girls, eight guys locked in a house with no connection to the outside world, no TV, nothing to read. And all we do is sit there and talk to each other for about 4 months. There's competitions, and last person standing gets $500,000 US. So I
Wow.
was 23 years old at the time. I didn't really expect to win or anything. I was kind of just going there for a good time. But after the show, I came out of the show with a lot of followers on Instagram and Twitter, and doing meet and greets and appearances. And I thought everything was so great. I thought I was famous, but I let it get to my head, and I had a huge ego. I became extremely narcissistic and pretentious. I thought I was better than everyone because I had more followers, because I had money coming in and money on the calendar. And, um, you know, I think it goes up being said that a lot of famous people, they get depressed, right? When their best project is no long is now in the past, it's tough to stay on that high, right? And I hit a very, very, very low point in my life. I was abusing alcohol, and I was spending all my money on going out and just being really immature and childish at the time. And I had zero self-awareness, right? I didn't realize that all these new habits I was cultivating were actually very destructive towards my mental health and to my physical health as well. But it took a rock bottom situation of me totaling my car, having no money, living with my parents at 26 years old, no job, no money coming in. And my manager at the time was like, Zach, we don't have any emails coming in. You don't have anything on the calendar. It's time you should probably start to find work. And that was like, that hit me really hard. So I was extremely, extremely depressed. And I was like, let me just pick up a book. Let me start going to the gym. And I start to just get 1% better every day. Woke up 1 minute earlier, read one extra page in a personal growth or self-development book, ate 1% healthier, went to the gym, one extra rep each set. And all the extra effort I was putting in and the self-awareness that I was starting to like really cultivate, I started yielding results, right? And I started making more money, and I started becoming happier, and I was feeling better inside my body, and my relationships were becoming much stronger. And it was 2017. I read Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth, for the first time, which is one of my favorite books. And I had a brain orgasm, right? I was like, oh my God, like I'm so identified to my material things in life. And I'm so identified with my emotions, which is bad. Obviously, we want to have strong emotional intelligence by acknowledging our emotions, disidentifying from them, watching them pass, and things like that. So I started to really get deeper into meditation and mindfulness and mental health. And I was documenting my entire journey on Instagram and social media. So over time, more and more people were reaching out. Hey, Zach, like, can you teach me some meditation practice? Hey, Zach, like, how are you so mentally tough? Hey, Zach, like, can you teach me this, 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 and this? I was like, sure, I would love to help all of you guys. I'm still learning as well, right? Like, I'm still on this journey, and a sense of humility and humbleness that, there's still so much more for me to learn. The best way for me to learn is to teach. So I started to help people in different containers and in different ways. And that ultimately led to me becoming a certified life coach, becoming a certified nutritionist, and now working with my clients on a one-on-one basis, and then having, courses and stuff that I do also. But that was kind of the journey. It was like the highs of Big Brother to the lows of, abusing alcohol, and then just slowly, slowly, slowly getting better. People started seeing it, asking questions. And then now, I'm at a point in my life where I feel obligated. I have this responsibility to not only serve my clients as powerfully as possible, but step into the greatest version of myself every single day, right? Like that obligation right there is enough compensation for me, regardless of how much my clients are paying me, regardless of, how many courses I sell a month. The most value that I get from being a coach is the fact that I now have to be the best. So it's been a great journey. I'm super thankful and appreciative to everything that I've learned. And I'm still extremely curious as to what I don't know, which I think is so important to constant growth.
It's really important that I think many of us in the health and wellness space have actually gotten there because of our own personal journey. Like it doesn't just fall into our lap. And often I hear from patients, I may recommend meditation, but it can be really hard and people don't know where to start. What are your tips for people that want to do it, but they're scared, or they've got monkey mind, or they just don't know how to just get going? How do you help them? Because that's such a common question I get. And I think people want to do it, but they're also afraid to just be with themselves and be in silence.
Right. Great question. I mean, we all have the monkey mind. We all have it. It's just some of us are more aware of it than others. Right. And also meditation is challenging. It's supposed to be challenging. Like it's not easy to just sit in silence and listen to your breath. Right. So, I just got off a call with a client of mine about an hour ago, and we were talking really in depth into meditation. He doesn't meditate, but as of today, he committed to meditating for 1 minute every single day, which, I preach a lot about consistency. I preach a lot about just doing it. Meditation is a practice. You cannot succeed and you cannot fail. As long as you're doing it, you're doing it.
Yes.
Right. So just acknowledging your thoughts, being aware of your thoughts, understanding that it's going to be hard, but having self-compassion that, hey, I'm not going to be really good at it. It's not going to be easy, but I'm a human. And it's supposed to be hard. So a lot of the advice I give to people when it comes to meditation is make sure you just practice it, right? Like make sure you just actually do it. Wake up, sit down, close your eyes, and either just acknowledge your thoughts or listen to the sound of your breath or repeat a mantra in your mind over and over again. When you have involuntary thoughts of got to go to the bathroom, got to answer this email, I don't want to be doing this right now, acknowledge it. Okay. Right. But those are just your thoughts. Your thoughts are your thoughts. You are you. You are not your thoughts. You're the awareness of your thoughts, right? Like I'm not Zach. I'm not this body. I'm not my hair. I'm not my 5'10" stature. I'm not my, Caucasian Jewish self. I'm the awareness that I'm in this body. I'm the awareness that I'm like in this human being and I can do whatever I want, right? We're not humans having a spiritual experience. We're spirits having a human experience.
Yeah.
And, this is there's so many things like I can talk about, but to answer your question, the most important thing is that you do it and that you're consistent about it and understanding that it's supposed to be challenging.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's really important. And just show up, however you do it, just show up. And that's exactly what I tell people. And there's so many guides, there's so many apps these days. When I got into meditation, there wasn't, but but there's so many resources that you just have to find out what works for you. And once you do, stick to it, right?
Exactly. Just do it, right? Doesn't matter how you practice, just do it.
The other question I have for you, also kind of controversial, but, what's your diet philosophy? I get this question all the time. And, my personal approach is there is no one diet that fits all. And all of us are so unique and so individual, right? Like, but when you're working with your clients, like, how do you help them with the nutrition aspect? Because everybody's so unique and different.
Absolutely. We're biological human beings. All of us are different. My heart, my liver, your liver, it's all different. They work differently. Some of us are born with deficiencies and, it really depends on what your goals are. Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to gain weight? Are you trying to build muscle? Are you trying to lean out? But I think the most important thing is self-awareness around diet, right? Like eating a certain food and then asking yourself, how do I feel? But I personally eat to feel good. I eat for cognitive health. I eat because it's energy that we need. I'm not a food enthusiast. I don't binge eat. But I think not only are diet choices important, but when you eat is just as important. And I like to do fasting. I think fasting is really important. So I go at least 16 hours without eating, eat an early dinner around 5:30, 6 o'clock. And then I don't eat till at least 11, 12 o'clock. That's 16, 17 hours. But I also like to do high fat, low carb diet. right? Carbs kind of just hold us back. They inflame our insides. And unless you're like really training for something very physical, which I am. I'm training for Ironman right now. I just ran a marathon last month. Yeah, I have a half Ironman coming up in 17 days. So after this, I'm going to go hit a run. But it really just depends on your goals. It really just depends on your goals. Obviously, it's important to eat a lot of vegetables, drink a lot of water, but it's not always about what you add into your diet. It's also about what you take out of your diet. So no soda, no, like really try to minimize sugars, right? Like no processed foods. I think taking out the bad stuff in your diet is just as important as putting the good stuff into your diet. But I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, these days there's so many different opinions and there's different diets to follow, and we're all different. So we need to do what works best for us. But if I had to say like a list of guidelines, I think it should be incorporating some form of fasting into your diet for sure. I mean, our digestive system, it needs time to rest. It needs time to reset. We're not meant to eat 3 times a day. We're really not, you know? And so I think fasting is super important, and what that container looks like for you might be different than me, but incorporating some form of like window periods of eating and not eating so you can rest your digestive system. Drinking a ton of water. However much water you drink, I want you to drink more than that. No drinking soda, no processed foods, dark leafy greens, and building that awareness around how you feel after every meal.
Yeah, perfect. You nailed it. And you know what, guys, I would probably add a couple other things to that. You know, just watch your sugar intake, because there's hidden sugars in everything. You'd be surprised where there's hidden sugars in, especially if it's processed, of course. But, you know, even when it comes to fasting, I am a big proponent of fasting, but I will say that women have a harder time fasting. So it also depends on what's going on hormonally. So fasting for men, I think, is amazing. And like even keto diets work great for men. But when it comes to women, you definitely need to work with someone one-on-one to figure out what's the best way to approach it so you can be successful. So, but great advice. I love it. Let's switch gears, because, you know, you kind of dealt with this, and I think a lot of people have been dealing with this in the last year. I mean, the pandemic's been really rough on our mental health, you know, especially many people have lost jobs. Many people have lost loved ones. I mean, it's just been a really unfortunate, dark time. And, you know, Zach, I can't believe we're still in it a year later. Like, we're still in it. And I'm so grateful for a lot of people like you, and a lot of people have brought awareness to mental health in the last year. But I think that we need to continue to bring more awareness to it, because it's a very important topic. And unfortunately, things are not going to go away. And we have to learn how to become resilient and learn how to cope well, so we can just be better humans and just kind of thrive through this process.
Yeah. It's been a tough year for sure.
Yeah.
Mental health is obviously something that's really important. It's just as important as our physical health. So again, I hate to keep banging the word awareness here, but being aware of our thoughts, being aware of our emotions, I think that's where it starts, right? We all have the monkey mind. We all are anxious, right? Anyone who says, oh, I'm dealing with anxiety, yeah, so am I, right? So am I. And so are you. We're all dealing with anxiety. Obviously, sometimes it's more debilitating for other people than maybe me or you. But at the end of the day, it's really important for us to cultivate awareness around our thoughts, awareness around our emotions, and not become our emotions. Like, you're not sad, you know, you're Bindi, right? You feel sadness, right? So I think awareness is really important. And then self-care, right? Like, journaling is super important. Meditating is really important. Eating healthy, exercise, you know, having a good conversation with someone you love, spending time with one of your friends. And one thing I think that goes kind of like under the rug is having a very strong perspective on life, looking at the stars and realizing how small you are. I mean, the universe is not 2021 years old. It's been here for 13.8 billion years. There's been other Earths that have come and went. You know, there's been so many other things that have lived in this universe other than us, right? And we are very small, and life is short, and we're on a rock spinning in outer space. Nothing really matters, right? Smile, laugh, enjoy the time you're here, because it is really short.
Yeah, I agree.
Having that bird's eye view, macro level type perspective on the time that the universe has been around, and the minute that we're going to be on Earth, I think is really important. And that's what helped me a lot. Like I just looking at the stars, and it's helping me have a deeper relationship with God, have a deeper relationship with like what else is going on here that we don't really see. So I think having like faith and hope in God, whether that's, you think it's a person that's in heaven playing violin, or, you think it's just the energy inside your heart, having that faith is really important as well.
Yeah, I think that's so important. Having faith in whatever you believe in, the universe, God, whoever, I think is so important. And also social connection, I think is so important, even more so in this last year, just because I think there has been such a disconnect. We're not seeing our loved ones, our parents, our family as much as we used to, just because of the situation we're in, but, finding other ways to still connect. And I'm so grateful for social connections in support groups and online groups and even social media. I mean, social media isn't all bad. I mean, at least people are still connecting with each other in that way. So there's a lot of good things and a lot of things that we can still pay attention to and still feed our soul when it comes to social connection, which I think is really important. The other thing you mentioned, Zach, was journaling, and I'm a big fan of journaling, and I know you are too. So, how does one start a journaling process? If they've never started journaling before, like where do we start? It can be overwhelming.
Journaling is super important. Journaling looks like different things to different people. To me, I keep a spiral notebook, and I journal every 30 minutes of the day from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. In the top right-hand corner, I have the most important things, which is meditate for 40 minutes, read 40 pages, listen to 40 minutes of affirmations, and fast for 16 hours. In the top left, I have my 2 workouts I have to do. On the top right, I have the high value test. So, today it's getting back to all the brands that I'm working with. It's recording an ad for my podcast, sending back my 23andMe saliva test for my food allergy test.
Do it.
Yeah. So, and then I have my low value test, which is, I was going to go to the bank, but I realized that apparently today's a holiday. And then just a couple other things. So other people like to journal, dear journal. Today was, a very bad day for me because X, Y, and Z happened. So journaling could look different to you than it does to me, but it's a really healthy practice because you can't move forward in life if you don't have anything to look back on. And I've been journaling for years and years. I am only 30 years old, but I've been journaling since I was like 18, 19 years old daily. And this is a practice that has been super foundational for my mental health success, my physical success, and also just as an entrepreneur. I mean, I don't have anyone telling me what to do, so it's important to stay on task.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I like it. I like how you said it can be different things for different people. Like I start off with a gratitude journal every morning, and that's just something that I enjoy doing. And but it can be different things. It can be like the Dear Diary, and it can be more a task list. But I like what you said about just kind of having something to look back at, because like you're so right. You can look back in January 1st and see what you wrote and be like, oh, those are my emotions. Those were my thoughts. Like, kind of cool. And to see how much we've evolved over the last year or whatever, when you look back at the journaling you've done, I think it's so therapeutic, actually.
Absolutely. Yeah, big fan of journaling. Actually, to anyone that's listening, I do have a journal that I published on Amazon. You can go to my website, lifecoachzach.com, and you can check that out. I kind of just made my own form of it. It has a lot of great quotes from celebrities and philosophers and Stoic philosophers, Greek philosophers, and a lot of other pioneers and entrepreneurs that have shaped the world. So you can go to my website, lifecoachzach.com, and get a copy there.
Yeah, awesome. So Zach, what would you tell your younger self? You've kind of been through a lot, and what would if you could give your 18-year-old self advice, maybe not even 23-year-old self, like even whatever, like what would you tell yourself now that you've kind of evolved over the last 7 years? Tough question.
What would I tell my younger self? I think I would tell my younger self that nothing.
Yes.
I was someone who got straight A's my entire life in school, was always top of my class. I feel like I always had things figured out, right? Like I know how to eat healthy. I know what's good for me. Like I know what's actually going on Earth, right? But it wasn't until recently, over the last 5 years or so, that I started to have a really strong sense of humility. And I pride myself on my humility. That I know nothing. I know nothing. Even though I think I know everything about diet and nutrition, I know nothing. And I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly staying curious. It's like, what do I not know, right? There's got to be more things I don't know. Like, and I have this insatiable thirst for more knowledge, right? So I think it's really important to be humble with your mindset. So if I could give myself one piece of advice, it's Zach, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You know nothing.
Yeah, I love that. And then, like Zach, tell us how you start your morning. I know you have like a very spiritual practice. So, tell us how you start your morning, because I think that's important. I think morning practices are the way to go. And you kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, but, for someone who just wants to learn more.
Sure. So I start my morning every day around 5:30 in the morning. My alarm goes off at 5. And as soon as I wake up, I open my phone and I hit Audible and I play positive affirmations. For the last couple of weeks, I've been listening to strengthening willpower affirmations. So a lot of like, I am in control of my life. I have power over my desires. I am the architect and engineer of my life. Like, there's only one person in the world that I can control, and that's me. And for me, that starts my day off right. That empowers me as soon as I wake up that I am in control of whatever's going to happen. So I start that immediately. And it's, I don't have to really pay too much attention to it. It's just kind of in the background. So wake up, hit my affirmations. Sometimes I lay in bed for 10, 15 minutes. So I'll go to the bathroom. But I always start my day off by reading. The first thing I do is I read at least like 20 pages, and then I'll go into a 20-minute meditation. And then from there, I start going through my email and looking at my to-do list of the high value tasks I got to do. The more I can get done in the morning, the better. But something I do want to tell everyone listening, your morning routine today doesn't have to be your morning routine 3 months from now, because I used to wake up at 4:30 and hit the gym immediately. Yes. Right? I used to get the gym done immediately. Now I don't really like doing that. I like going into my reading. I like going into my meditation. I like getting some work done. And now I don't work out till like 11 or so right before I break my fast. So I think it's really important to get do your meditation in the morning, do some form of self-education. Gratitude journal obviously is a great morning practice. And then as far as like diet stuff wise, I drink a ton of water. I make my coffee first thing in the morning. But reading and meditation are the two non-negotiables for me.
Yeah, I love those. And if people want to work with you, how can they do that if they want to follow you, work with you, and they want you to be their coach?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I love to give free help and free value. You can follow me on Instagram at Zach Rancey, ZachRancey. You can also, that's honestly the best place. If you want to just follow me on Instagram, shoot me a direct message. We'd be happy to help you guys out. You can also visit my website, lifecoachzach.com. There's a ton of resources there. All my podcasts, all my videos, my books, my courses. So, but again, just feel free to reach out on Instagram.
Yeah, awesome. Any last minute things that people should know, especially when it comes to the wellness space, Zach? Because, I know there are people that are wanting to do this, but what I tend to notice is people are afraid to make changes. They don't know what changes are, how it's going to impact their life. So, any advice on people that want to kind of go into this health and wellness journey, but are hesitant and kind of afraid of committing fully? Like, what would you tell them?
The most important thing is being 1% better today than you were yesterday.
Yes.
That is the most important thing. We are constantly growing or we're dying. There's no in between. So today I want you to grow, right? And until the day we are 6 feet underground, I am going to be better than I was yesterday. My last word is going to be 1% better. I promise you, like literally just be 1% better. Wake up 1 minute earlier, read one extra page in a book, meditate for 1 extra minute, even if it's 1 extra second, because if you do that every single day, eventually those micro wins consistently executed over time amount to massive results. So just 1% better. And I learned that from one of my favorite authors, Darren Hardy, who's the founder of Success Magazine that I'm sure a lot of people have heard about. His book is called The Compound Effect. Mm-hmm. It is the #1 book I recommend to anyone and everyone because it's made such a profound impact on my life. But again, if anyone's just trying to, whatever you're trying to accomplish, just be 1% better today than you were yesterday.
I love it. I love it. I think that is like the best advice I've ever heard in general, just because I think that's ultimately what we're here to do, is just be a better version of ourselves than who we were yesterday. So awesome. Well, thank you so much, Zach, for joining us. It was so wonderful. And you guys, if you're not following him already, definitely follow him. And I'm sure we'll be in touch.
Sounds good. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Perfect. Talk soon.